Hello, and welcome to Critical Political Thinking. My name is Camasso, and I'd like to welcome you to our very first episode utilizing our new studio with our green screen and our high-resolution HD Sony camera. So, once again, my name is Camasso, and welcome to Critical Political Thinking's third episode of the coronavirus. Hi, my name is Camasso, and this is Critical Political Thinking. Today, we are going over the third episode of the coronavirus. A lot has happened since we have been literally forced into the situation that we are currently in. And there has been a lot of misinformation that has been shot around by the media in a poor attempts to gain viewership. I feel that the media has literally scared Americans into seclusion to the point where it's not even safe or healthy. There are a lot of facts that need to be heard, and there are a lot of fallacies that need to be proven wrong. So today I'm going to go over the numbers, which obviously are facts. There's not much we can do about the numbers at this point. So we're going to go over the numbers, and then we're going to go over what we already found out about the virus, how it spread, and the facts that have already been come forward, through C.D.C, W.H.O, and reputable sources. And then from there, we're going to go over basically what the future holds for the virus. Then we're going to go over the financials, and then we're going to figure out where we stand as Americans. So first, let's go over the numbers. The numbers for the coronavirus are almost comparable to a standard year of the flu, but there are a few things that you need to take into account when realizing those numbers. The first thing is social distancing. Obviously, we've been practicing for over a month staying home. That's unprecedented. That's something we've never done as Americans before. That's something that we've never done in the world before. And literally, there are multiple countries utilizing this lock-in, stay-at-home orders. When utilizing those orders, they're not taken lightly. This is something that, like I said, is extremely unprecedented. And what it's literally done is allowed them to change the curve or to flatten the curve. Now, we're going to get to a little bit of the number variations in a few, but I feel that they were extremely successful in doing so, and the only reason those numbers are as low as they are, they were going to be low, a lot lower than they anticipated, no matter what. But I feel they're even lower by doing what they did. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that they did, but I think the way they did it, the force they used to do it, and all of that is something that we're going to go over in a little bit, and that's where the problem comes into place. So right now we have 2,315,000 confirmed cases within the world at the time that we're creating this video. And keep in mind, we are creating this video on a Sunday. We're trying to make these videos on Sundays this way. It's a common thing and something that Americans can look forward to and look at and utilize as factual information rather than the misconceptions that are coming out through all the different media sources. And you don't know what's true. You don't know what's just put out there for media viewership. Personally, views mean nothing to me. Getting this information out there to the public is most essential to me. And that is my primary goal, and that is my plan through all this. So right now there's 2,315,000 confirmed cases within the world with 159,000 deaths. That's a lot. That's a very sad number. In the United States alone, there are 745,000 confirmed cases with 39,000 people dead. 39,000 people. Now keep in mind, 81,000 passed away from the flu last year. That's without social distancing. So only from COVID, no flu. Now, in a minute we'll get to the numbers, how they may be inflated, how they may be wrong. But confirmed 39,000, which is a substantial number, especially given the fact that that's within a 1-month period of time. That's astronomical. If that carried out throughout the entire year, we'd be looking at around 400,000 deaths. But thank God it's not going to carry out that way. And thank God we are able to, not in a sense contain it, but in a sense control it. Right now, in my state here in Pennsylvania, we have 32,000 confirmed cases and around 850 dead, which is a very high number for our state as far as the flu goes. It's believed that around April 9th, we've hit our peak. And then all of a sudden, Everyone now sees this Democratic push on the 13th, 14th, and 15th, because they passed through the ability now to add in numbers of people that were confirmed after the fact. So anyone that passed away from the coronavirus, or anyone that got the coronavirus before the date of April 12th, and they weren't counted in those numbers up to that point, they were pushed in between the 13th and the 15th. So the 13th, 14th, and 15th, that extra little peak that automatically is already starting to come back down and balance back out to where we already were on that curve, that's only because of them pushing in extra numbers. So that's another little curve that the media is using to say, oh, we're not in control, we need to practice this through December. That's right, it's December. And that is what Pelosi and her crew is attempting to do. And now, like I said, I'm not trying to be biased in this video. I'm not here for Trump, I'm not here for Biden, I'm not here for Pelosi, I'm not here for anyone. But what I am saying is right now, Nancy Pelosi is okay with what she's doing. And frankly, I'm not. And we really need to focus. And we really need to understand what's going on with the situation at hand and how these numbers are working and how we're pushing these curves and how she's trying to push this now through to December. We cannot stay home through December. We cannot function as small businesses. We cannot function as America if we are doing a lockdown through December that will destroy the economy. The only reason she could possibly be doing that is to hold this economy off until after the election to prove that he couldn't do it. He couldn't contain the virus, as in Donald Trump. And frankly, the job that he's done, if it wasn't Donald Trump, if the job that he's doing was any other president, if it was Obama, even if it was Bush, I believe that, while he would have still been picked on, I really don't think it could have been done any other way. With the information that was presented, the lies that were given by China, the delay of the factual information that was essential to get by, more of which I'll go over in detail, but it's just so unfair. And they're trying so hard to make Donald Trump look as if he's failing, that they're failing to realize what he is doing is benefiting us. And if they work together and focus their questions on more factual information, the problems that I'm going to get out there, those are the things that we should be focusing on, not necessarily the little bickering and the arguments and the fights there's no reason for it. That's not what we're here to do. This is a pandemic. We are Americans. We are humans. We are nothing more. We need to work together as humans to survive through this pandemic. And all of this bickering and fighting and we want this and we want that and we want this, and it's not going to work at this time. It's really not going to work. So we do need to start opening businesses. These numbers are definitely curving in the proper directions. And no, we don't need to go back immediately. But we do need to begin going back in waves and tiers. There are certain industries that deserve to be open. There are certain industries that should not have been closed to begin with. There are guidelines and there are ways to prevent these viral outbreaks. And if the government can't trust us as business owners and the government can't trust us as American citizens, then why are we here? What are we putting our faith in them for if they don't put their faith in us? I just don't understand that. Initially, they said there was going to be between 100,000 and 200,000 dead. Right now, we're shooting for around 65, 70. I said that from the beginning. My very first video. Between 75 and 100,000 were my anticipations. I never saw us peaking 100,000. I knew it wasn't the case. There's just no way. Yes, China deflated the numbers to a great extreme. And when Italy, a country, while yes, they have a great health system, they're elderly. They have more health conditions and more underlying heart and health conditions than any other country. That's a proven scientific fact. This isn't a cultural bash. This isn't me going after, I'm Italian. But by all means, they're factual information. They're scientific facts, and they utilize those scientific facts to scare Americans into viewership. And that was wrong. And right now, yes, this was a pandemic, and yes, this is a horrible viral outbreak, but it's controllable. And it's controllable through simple health practices. Sanitation. Wash your hands. Cover your mouth. basic common sense. Right now, Spain's got 195,000 cases. You've got Italy with 176, Germany with 144, UK with 115,000. France has got 112,000, and China, the one where it all started, the one who has had the virus the longest, with the longest potential for the majority of their people to catch it. A huge population, and they're saying they only have 83,000 cases. Something doesn't seem right there. It just doesn't seem right. Also, look at their death ratio. Do you realize how much lower that is than the rest of the world? How are they magically so much more advanced than us? How did they magically know how to control this so much better than us? If not for the fact that they were a failing country. They had the worst year that they've had in 60-some years. 60-some years. Last year was the worst year they had. And now all of a sudden, they're the ones that are going to be coming back. They have the answers to everything. They have the masks that everyone wants to purchase. Doesn't anyone see the outlying facts here? Does not everyone realize what's really going on? You know, it's a shame. You know, Donald Trump called it the Chinese virus for a reason. It originated in China. That's not a cultural bash. That's not racism. How can you be so shallow to call that into question at a time of crisis when you should be focusing on, yes, it came from China. In China, where are the answers? Where are the facts? There was a doctor named Dr. Li Wenyang. And back in December, end of December, he put a conference out to medical advisors, his medical friends, and told them of this respiratory illness similar to SARS that had caused a huge outbreak. And you know what happened? The Chinese government went to him and said, "Yo, you can't do that. Silence. We need you to put out a statement saying that you were 100% inaccurate and that those are not factual information." So what has to happen? He puts out an outbreak, or a retraction. He goes back to work. Come February 7th, he dies from the coronavirus, working on the front lines. It wasn't until weeks after his death that, you know, it was brought to light that he tried to warn the world, and he was shunned. So now there's even an outbreak in China. They're not bringing this up in China. Everything's hanky-dory in China. They're showing, you know, public service announcements, walking up steps, taking off masks. Well, how about you see the video behind where they're putting them right back on? Or what about the videos, you know, where they're showing how everything is perfect and fine and there's no civil unrest? They are so irate with their government for not bringing to light the facts and letting so many Chinese people die. Far more than the 4,700 they're claiming. Far more. I don't even know if that's an accurate number, but that, you know, that was on the World Health Organization's website. Another organization I'm not going to get into at this point, but all right, so that's my little spiel on the numbers and why they're so inflated and why they are factually incorrect. Not to mention, they are counting these numbers by people who, yes, the testing numbers are accurate for the most part, but the deaths, way off. They're even counting deaths. If you had the virus and you passed away from anything, they counted that so far as towards the coronavirus. Are they going to edit those numbers and bring those back off because they died from old age or they died from Alzheimer's or whatever the case may be, and it was just an underlying condition that may or may not have aided it, but they actually died from the condition that they had initially? This was just a little, a perk, if any, not a perk, poor choice of words, but the kicker, if you will. So how can you classify that as the cause of death when it was only the aid and the cause? I just don't understand how these inflated numbers are just, they're wrong. And they're scaring Americans for nothing. Nothing. This is a bad virus. We should be afraid, but not so fearful that we can't go out and exercise. Not so fearful that, you know, in Florida they're arresting people for being on a boat fishing. How is it possible? How is that illegal? Where are our rights as Americans? I don't get it. So what do we know about this wonderful virus? This virus that has literally turned our world upside down. So what we do know is a spiky little ball of genetic material. It's coated in a lot of lipids, and it's basically 1/80 billionth of a meter. So this is so microscopic it's not even funny. This virus carries in droplet form, which means as you spit, as you sneeze, as you cough, as any saliva, moisture from your body, fecal matter, any of that comes in contact with any surface or with your body or your hands. That's why it's so important to wash your hands, so important to cover your body, and so important to cover your face. You can't let these germs get into your body, or if you have them and you don't know it, because these symptoms don't come immediately. You've got 2 to 14 days before these symptoms show up. That's right, 2 to 14 days. So these droplets, they enter your body, and they enter your body through your throat, your mouth, your nasal cavity, and they get into your throat, okay? And they end up binding to your ACE2 receptors. When they bind to your ACE2 receptors, they then infiltrate those receptors and utilize their reproductive system. And they reproduce and reproduce until they burst out of that cell and then infiltrate and infect more and more and more until it's uncontrollable. Now, there are several ways your body can fight this, and that's the only way that you're going to defeat this virus, is if your body's capable of fighting it. Now, they don't have a vaccine and they don't have a cure. The only thing they have right now is hydrochloroquine and remdesivir. Now, those two drugs, those are the main drugs, and then hydrochloroquine and taken with Zithromax shows better results, if you will. Now, those are only there to treat the underlying symptoms enough so that your body is capable of fighting the virus on its own. If your body's not capable of fighting the virus, and that's why it's attacking the elderly and the underlying health issues, because you're not capable of fighting the virus on your own, even with these medicines. But those with lesser of those symptoms are capable to utilize these medications to fight the symptoms long enough that your body's able to fight away the virus. So that's how these medications are currently working, but they're not cures. They're not magical cures that when you take it, it eliminates the virus. That's the misconception. You know, this isn't a magical thing like Trump said it is. It's not. I hate to break it to you. But it is a great advancement in aiding a good majority of humans in fighting the virus on their own. And that's all we can do at this point until a vaccine has been created. And even when a vaccine is created, it has to go through multiple trials before it can be induced into a human body. And I mean, yes, it can be put in through trials, but not through the regular, medical field. You can't go to the hospital and get this vaccine for at least a year. At least. I've heard so many people lie, oh, we can have it rushed in 5. It's probably not going to happen. Don't get your hopes up. It's never happened. And yes, this whole situation is unprecedented. But the only reason it doesn't happen is because it has to be tested properly. They can't put this in the human body and then have everyone die or everyone get something far worse that they aren't aware of. Not to mention, they need to study this virus longer to understand the mutation characteristics of this virus, to see what the mutation abilities are, to see when this virus comes back around, which they are predicting it will do. Just like most viruses do, this will come back around, and it may come back around in a stronger or different form that our body or these antibodies and anything that's going on won't be able to fight. Now, they also have an antibody test, which basically takes the antibodies from someone that's already recovered from the virus. Your body develops the antibodies that fight this virus. Once your body develops those antibodies, they're in your system. They're in the plasma within your blood. So what they're able to do is pull your plasma and utilize those antibodies, put them into somebody that doesn't have those antibodies developed yet, and it will assist their body in developing those antibodies. So that's another testing that they're utilizing. Major League Baseball is huge in that test right now. They're actually utilizing their players, staff, all the way down to the hot dog guys, they said. And they are basically utilizing that group as the study group for this plasma test, which is fantastic. I mean, right now baseball is really not being utilized as much, and that gives them, hopefully, maybe even a compensation. I'm not positive. I tried to do a little more research on it, but it's a little unavailable at this time. So they may even be compensated for it. I assume the players would probably donate, but it'd be great to give, the hot dog vendors and the cotton candy guy a couple extra dollars, because right now we're all struggling, and I'm sure they're struggling just as much as everyone else. So the ways your body dies from this virus is basically tiring out. And that's when your body can't fight the virus anymore, to the point where it's just tired, so tired out that you can't even breathe anymore. It becomes so difficult to breathe that your body can't breathe on its own. So then they incubate you and you go onto a respirator. And then the respirator does your breathing for you. Usually when you're put on this respirator, it's a last case scenario. And sadly, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to make it. if you're on that respirator for a day or more. That's what they're saying at this point. The other thing you can do is a cytokine storm, which is an immune overdraw. So basically what happens is your immune system produces so much of the antibodies and whatnot that it causes such severe inflammation in your lungs that it literally drowns you and you die. So those are the two real terrible ways that you can pass away from this virus. Obviously the most common would be the tiring out and your respiratory system just failing. But frankly, at this point, those are the only remedies, cures. If you catch this virus, 80% of the time, they're going to be mild symptoms. They're going to be symptoms you can treat on your own. If you have a fever, you treat the fever with acetaminophen, Tylenol. Do not use ibuprofen. For some reason, ibuprofen has been shown, I know, don't quote me, I am not a doctor, but from what physicians have informed the general public is it causes some kind of interaction with the virus that does actually aid the virus in growing. So, and it causes a little bit of a sort of an inflammation of a sort that I believe goes against the cytokine storm. So stay away from ibuprofen at this point. Try to utilize Tylenol and naproxen. Those are the two that they are recommending at this point. Obviously, with your throat and respiratory, you're going to want to use like a tussin, some kind of a dextromethorphan to get your cough out, something to dry out. Well, it's already a dry cough, so you want to make sure you're obviously water. Drink as much water as possible. Try to get some electrolytes. Some Gatorade is a great product to utilize. Basically, anything you do to save yourself from the flu is what you need to be doing to protect yourself from this virus. So that's what we understand about the virus itself. Now, what else is scaring America? The main thing. How are we going to eat? How are we going to pay our bills? How are we going to pay our electric? How are we going to pay rent? Let's start with utilities. Right now, Keeping America Connected initiative is keeping America connected, just what it says. All Americans will be responsible at this point for all of their bills. No matter what bill it is, you're still responsible for those bills. So if you do have the ability to pay them, if you're still working, pay those bills. You're only going to have them added on at the end. You may be fortunate and have a company that's willing to do some kind of division where they'll divide it over a 12-month period. Whatever the case may be, I'm sure they're going to try and provide some kind of assistance. But if you have the ability to pay it, get it out of the way at this point. We need to pay our bills, and we need to keep those people employed and so on and so forth. The more we're able to keep money flowing through the system, the better America will be. I know it's a time when people want to be greedy and hold everything they have, but right now we can't. If you want to have an America to go back to, we all need to work together, and financially we are in trouble. I don't think America understands the financial situation and the dire problems that small businesses are having at this time. The PPP loan is out of funding already. And there's at least 1 million applications left to go. Okay, so what they're trying to do is put another $250 billion. That's not even enough. They need at least another $700 billion if they were going to cover the majority of the loans. And that's not even all of the loans, and that's not even the maximum amounts that these people are going to need. That's get-by funds. That's just what they need to survive. So if you do the math, that's about 40% of American businesses. Between 30 and 40% of American businesses have not received the funding or the help that they need. That means they're more than likely, unless they have a wonderful nest egg, not going to be here when this returns. The way they've set up the SBA's EIDL and PPP loans. Now, a lot of Americans are saying, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't need to hear this. Please listen for 5 minutes, because let me tell you, this is going to inform you on how the world is going to work for the next few months. And it's scary, and it's something you need to understand so that you can make informed decisions financially for yourselves and your families. So the EIDL loan was initially supposed to give $10,000 to every applicant as a grant, and then they can ask for up to $2 million as a loan that they would have to pay back at around 3% interest to keep their business going for rent, utilities, this, that, and the other thing. Number one, they're out of funding. Number two, before they even started giving out the loans, they dropped them from $2 million to $15,000 with a $10,000 grant. That is such a substantial jump, it's disgusting. So now you had a maximum loan of $25,000 to save no matter what size business, 0 to 500 people. That's supposed to pay your rent, everything, so on and so forth. Then, so many people applied that they came back and said, no, we can't give you the $10,000. You can still ask for the $15,000 if you're eligible and if you get in before they run out of money, but we're only going to give you $1,000 per employee. So a bigger company with only 2-3 employees, but a profitable, venturable company that needs that money to sustain itself, now is only eligible for a $3,000 grant and a $15,000 loan through the EIDL. So that was the problem with OLA. They screwed everyone out of the funding that they were supposed to get. You no longer got the $10,000 grant because of the sheer volume of the applications, which they didn't anticipate correctly, and the Democrats refused to give more. Then we had, so many additional companies putting in for additional funding, such as, Ruth Chris ended up with a $20 million PPP loan, okay? $20 million maximum loan on the PPP. Some companies were given $20 million and other companies given 0. How is that an effective system? Why not balance it a little better and give somebody something rather than nothing and everything? That is so inefficient, it's not even funny, and that's not the point of the stimulus bill. This was to help small businesses, not medium to large size businesses. They are out of funding. Out of the $350 billion they had set aside for the PPP, they were out of within the first week and a half. Mind you, for the first week, independent contractors weren't allowed to apply. Self-employed were not allowed to apply. We had to wait an additional 7 days. So if you were self-employed or an independent contractor hiring 10, 15 people, you weren't allowed to apply. And unless you had a premium bank that was willing to take the application, you didn't get the funding in. And therefore, now that they're out of funding, you don't get your money. So if you didn't qualify for the EIDL or you only got $1,000 to $3,000, that's it. That's all the money you're getting to save your business over the next 5 months. From March through the end of at least July, middle of August, we can't open. We can't come back, and we don't have the money to pay our bills. And even when we do come back, no one's going to have any money. And on top of the fact that nobody has any money, we don't have the money to pay our bills, and they're going to be due at that point. What do? 30 to 40% of businesses are failing. They will not be back, mark my words. How is this America? All the money and all the taxes and all the time and effort we spent in building these businesses, our blood, sweat, our tears, our family, everything, it's gone. And for what? For who? For a virus that literally has killed a fifth to an eighth of what they're claiming would have. They failed miserably. How are they not compensating for their error? How are they not agreeing with Mr. Trump and saying, yes, we need to get this back open. Yes, we need to practice social distancing. Yes, we need to focus on C.D.C. But if we do not come back now, we're not coming back. Why don't you understand that? Unemployment's even a bigger disaster. Now let's take a peek at unemployment. You've got 50 states that were unprepared for a mass overload, and they all failed miserably at once. So now you have 50 states whose unemployment lines are turned off. You can't even call. If you do call, you have to put your phone on auto redial. You have to download the redial app, which is my recommendation. If your phone line is busy constantly, like Pennsylvania's or New Jersey, download an auto redial app. Let the phone do it for you. And when your phone rings, you know you'll have somebody on the other end. That is the only way. And that's sad that you have to use automation to get through. You have to cheat a system to get help. Wow. Welcome to America, folks. Never thought I'd say it, but I'm ashamed. I'm certainly ashamed. So now you have a stimulus check that's gone out. You've got an unemployment system that's failed. A stimulus check that literally has only gone out to those that had direct deposit, have a comfortable, steady account. 9 times out of 10, they're the people that already had a few dollars or a nest egg. What about the people that have nothing? Now, I've received my stipend. It's gone. It's gone. Those bills from March and April have killed that. That was supposed to be a stimulus to boost the economy. And all it did was boost big companies and utility companies and all of that. Because if you didn't pay it, you'd only have to pay it later. And it doesn't make business sense to take out basically loans because there's no law saying that they can't charge interest on these overdue bills. There's no law at all. We have no idea what to expect. So don't be surprised if these businesses tack on ridiculous amounts to save themselves because the government didn't provide them the help they needed. Who else is going to do it if we don't do it for ourselves? I, as an independent contractor, I own an entertainment company, a DJ company, a few things, and I have customers that need refunds, but that money has been utilized for, insurance premiums, deposits, upgrades and equipment and stuff that were required for their events. And now all of a sudden it's past the return date. You can't return items. Some of the stores aren't even open to take returns. How are you supposed to do this? Who do you turn to? I've called the mayor. I've called the Better Business Bureau. I've called the C.D.C. I've called CEO. I've called every single available entity. I've called my representatives, my senators. Who else do I call? Who else do I reach out to for help? Unemployment has yet to return a single call or email. It has been 1 month since I have applied through Pennsylvania, and I have yet to hear back. And then I heard back 2 days ago, and I was told I applied in the wrong state because I've only been here for 3 months, working for 3 months in this state. I don't qualify in this state. I have to apply in the last state I was in that I worked for more than 6 months, which is New Jersey. So now I have to go through the process again. Nowhere on their site did it say that. Nowhere could I get through to any assistance for somebody to give me that valid information that would have benefited me greatly and maybe had some food on my table sooner. Now, fortunately for me, I have help. I have money. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. And I thank you for, if you were curious, or asking. But there are so many people that aren't. So right now, it is more than vital to reach out to our neighbors, reach out to our friends, reach out to our loved ones, and make sure that everyone has what they need. Make sure that we support small business. Big business will make it no matter what, regardless. Walmart's making a fortune. Amazon's making a fortune. They have their funds. Small business is dying. Call a small business that you know you want to patronize once this is all over. Ask them if you can purchase a gift card. That is the greatest thing you can do right now. Call someone and buy a gift card from a small business. You don't know how much that will help them. That is money that you have in your pocket still to utilize on something that you're going to enjoy, but you are giving yourself that guarantee that something you enjoy will be there when this is all over. Because we have to work together as Americans. If you have extra food in your pantry that's going to expire, don't let it expire. Donate it to a kitchen, a soup kitchen, a family. Someone will accept that. Someone can use that more than you can imagine, because even if they have worked their entire life and have done things the right way, right now, that means nothing. Because it's such an unfair and unprepared system for this that we are all at such a disadvantage that it's scary as a country such as great as ours, that they have failed us as much as they have, from the federal through the state through the city level. There has not been one official that has been able to give me a valid response. I have reached out to so many entities. I've reached out all over, and there hasn't been a valid response. Not to mention ludicrous, insane, and asinine responses. For instance, let's take this one for example. We have Dr. Rachel Levine and Tom Wolfe. Two wahoos, as far as I'm concerned. They're absolutely clueless, and let me explain why. So there is a 10-county COVID testing site now going in Luzerne County in Wilkes-Barre, a city that has an extremely low count, extremely low viral outbreak, and they are now putting this COVID testing center in the center of our shopping hub. Our Wegmans, our Walmart, our Target are all within a 1/10 of a mile radius of where they are putting a site where all infected people are now invited to come from 10 county wide. So yes, all 10 counties, let's bring your sick and your sadly dying to be tested in an area where they're not even being ravished. And now they already have the virus. What's to stop them from going to the Walmart? What's to stop them from going to the Sheetz for gas? What's to stop them from going for Wegmans for food? Nothing. They're right there. Oh, we should practice social distancing. Let's just do all of our stops while we're off this exit. What about the citizens of this area? How can they be so unprepared and so dumb, I'm sorry, but dumb, that they have no idea where they're putting a testing site? I contacted the Wilkes-Barre City Police Department and spoke with the chief. The chief is irate. He is disgusted and so upset that he cannot protect his citizens because of the lack of respect and the asinine decisions made by Rachel Levine and Tom Wolf. They decided to put this here. They didn't even reach out to the police department in the town to which they're putting it. That town has no idea what's coming. It's coming tomorrow, within hours, and today, Sunday, and we don't even know what's coming. The chief of police still to this moment has no idea what to expect, how to patrol, how to police, and how to protect us. They can't do it because they are so ass backwards. They have no idea what they're doing. Tom Wolf is destroying this whole entire state, destroying it. And he's allowing Rachel Levine on this television every day, contradicting every statement she makes. How is this right? How is this fair? She's such a smart doctor. Why can't they just put their heads together and make common sense? There's Pocono Raceway, dead smack in the center of the 10 counties to which they've created this testing site for. Better centrally located than where they put it, far away from populace, with an on and off from an interstate, with 4 gas stations and no severe businesses or no large essential food stores for a community not ravaged. And they put it in the center of a town of a huge population. How is that social distancing? How is that benefiting anyone in our community? Are you out of your minds? And this is everything. New York, this is Florida, this is California, this is Washington. They're all doing it wrong. Why? Is it so hard to use common sense and just work together as a people? Ask for help. You're putting something like that in someone's community, reach out to them. Let them help you. This is our community, and you're coming in and destroying it for what? You've already shut us down. You've already not helped us any which way financially, and now you're going to get us sick no matter what. Thanks. What else do we say? Other than we need to go out and vote in November. Without a doubt, we need to go out and vote. Donald Trump, frankly, in my opinion, has done nothing short of a great job. I haven't seen Joe Biden do anything about the virus other than talk about himself for these past few weeks. So no, I can't say that I can think of him as a great leader. I can't think of a time that he has been a great leader. But I can tell you that so far I haven't, other than attitude issues, and other than maybe a few nasty comments to reporters that undoubtedly deserve it for their lack of respect and lack of ability to ask the proper questions, the questions that I've just asked you and told you the facts to, what reporter has asked those questions? What reporter has called them out on the EIDL? What reporter has called out the head of the SBA as completely failing? What reporter has called out Dr. Rachel Levine for putting a testing center in the wrong place? Nobody. Nobody that I have seen, at least. So that means they haven't done a good enough job. And hopefully I get this video out far enough that we as Americans, we as Pennsylvanians, and we as humans can survive and can tell our government what we need. That's why we elected them. And it is our job to let them know what we need. We can't be silent. We can't stop. We need to protect each other. We need to make this happen. And I know we can do it, America. Please like, please subscribe. We are trying our best to build this community to help you. We have two news networks underneath Politicore News Network, one of which is NEPA Investigates, and the other is obviously this, Critical Political Thinking. Both of which are here to help, both of which are not for profit, and we are going to do everything we can to provide the best we can for our community. If there's anything you would like us to look into, please ask. If you have any questions or comments regarding this video, please leave them in the comments and likes and subscriptions below. If there's anything we can do to help, by all means, we are here for America. My name is Corey Camasso. This is Critical Political Thinking. Please stay safe. Please look out for one another. And remember, we will defeat COVID-19.